Welcome to Go Bucks, special Saturday edition. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. The typical topics that are happening right now, definitely Michigan and Ohio State football. Our training camps have opened, and Connor Stalions. Those are like the two main things that I think are on everyone's mind. And I'll tell you what, Matt, as we get closer to the approaching decision that's going to happen here pretty soon, because I've been very, very sure of myself, to the point where I'm slightly obnoxious about saying
Slightly. Okay.
Slightly obnoxious about
Good to
saying
know you have a little bit of self-awareness, even if it's not much.
I purposely have zero self-awareness. It's much easier to go through life with zero self-awareness. But yeah, I am, as it approaches, it's going to happen soon. We are probably, I guess I'm feeling a little anxiety is what I'm trying to say, about Michigan and just how sure I am. It's like I wake up in the middle of the night, 5 a.m., a cold sweat, and it's on my mind. What if Michigan does actually have to vacate wins or have a bowl ban? I don't know if I could actually show my face anywhere based on the way I've acted, but I'm still supremely confident that Michigan's not going to get that. But I just have like these little times of doubt, I guess I would say. How about you? How is your confidence level?
I'm about as confident as I can be. It keeps getting more and more, the more I've read and the more that even Michigan beat writers seem to be getting concerned. And Connor Stalions keeps running his mouth and everyone keeps getting mad at him on Twitter. And it just seems like, let's just do a hypothetical scenario. If the NCAA was threatening just a Sherrone Moore suspension of some kind, don't you think Michigan would have just agreed to something and not like drag this on forever? Because even though the recruiting is doing better because of all the influx of money you guys have recently, it's still, people are still nervous about it, and it's going to be used negatively against you guys until this is resolved. So I just think that if it was something like any kind of normal, reasonable ask by the NCAA, this thing would have been over and agreed to some sort of minor punishment a long time ago. So what is the holdup?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to read between the lines here, and part of me, like where my brain usually goes and where a lot of my confidence level goes, is that I feel like if Michigan thought they were getting a bowl ban, or even a chance of, or not a chance, but I feel like they talk more than we know. The NCAA and the schools like Michigan. I feel like if Michigan knew that they were going to be getting a bowl ban, if they were as sure as Buckeye Scoop that Michigan was going to get a bowl ban, I feel like they would have self-imposed that by now. So same thing with vacated games. Like they self-imposed against Sherrone Moore pretty quickly, I would say, with the 2-game suspension. You try to get ahead of that for PR reasons.
Hold on. What was Jim Harbaugh's punishment for Cheeseburger Gate? Do you remember?
That was like a few game suspensions.
No, I meant.
But here's what happened with that: Michigan self-imposed 3 games.
I'm saying after he left, there was more punishments. He got a show cause, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he may have. I can't remember.
But why wouldn't they have
symbolic
if he got a show cause
that NCAA is handing out is hilarious.
I mean, he got how many years of a show cause was he given? Do you know?
I think it was 4. Might have been some sort of 4-year show cause. If he something
did stuff that was so egregious that the NCAA is obviously telling the school, this is what we're thinking about punishing him, why wouldn't they self-impose? What did they self-impose? Nothing.
Well, so basically, I think what happened with Burgergate. No, not Burgergate. I'm sorry. This is the first time Jim Harbaugh was punished, and I can't even remember. Maybe some recruiting violations. Something happened in 2023 where he was out for the first 3 games. Was that Cheeseburger? I'm getting them all mixed up. But Michigan self-imposed.
Hard to get your cheating straight, is it?
Or maybe it was
so many incidents of cheating that you can't keep it straight.
So yeah, they self-imposed. It was 2 or 3 games for Harbaugh. I think it was 3. But the NCAA wanted more. They wanted like 6.
That wasn't that.
And so I guess that's my point is I feel like Michigan would have already self-imposed a bowl ban if they thought that they weren't going to be able to get out of that. You know what I mean?
So what did he do that got him the 4-year show cause?
I think that was something related to I can't remember. Honestly, I'd have to look it up. I'm honestly getting them mixed up.
This is the funny part for me. When your team has so many violations that you can't even keep them straight. I mean, it's unbelievable how many violations that Michigan had where you had like what 12 or 13 coaches either get show causes or suspensions, and that's just for like the stuff that we all think is relatively minor considering, or compared to everything else.
Johnny Ohio. Okay, it was Burgergate. Okay, I got it. And thank you. Thanks, Johnny. I'm going to read it on AI here too. The latest punishment for Jim Harbaugh from the NCAA is a 4-year show cause penalty. That stems from recruiting violations and unethical conduct during his time as head coach at the University of Michigan. Yeah. 4 years. That's a long time for burgers.
Isn't that what?
Again, it's symbolic because he's not going to
roughly
serve it.
What Tressel got, and I mean, I'm pretty sure I even agree. Like, I think what Tressel did was way worse than.
Yes, I think it's the NCAA having super sour grapes and just giving Jim Harbaugh like as much as they possibly can because they know he's not going to serve it anyway.
So, do you think that based on how they've been overly tough on Michigan thus far, that for the more egregious crime of the Connor Stalions gate, that they're going to all of a sudden?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
So because they've already been so hard on Michigan for what we both agree are relatively minor crimes of college football in the college football world, don't you think that the Connor Stalions thing, I mean, it just seems a little bit more in depth than I
think it's opposite.
Burgergate?
I think the NCAA is going to come down hard on show causes for coaches who are no longer with Michigan and really flex. They're flexing.
But they already did that.
And yeah, they're going to give Jim Harbaugh even more probably in this next round. But
they'll give him another 10 or something.
Yeah, but who cares? He's not coming back anyway. And
I know.
So that's pointless. And I think they'll do that as all day long. But here's like, again, I just have to go back. Like Michigan, think about not just the PR fallout, but the recruiting fallout. Let's say Michigan does have a bowl ban. Like I guarantee Michigan is telling all these recruits that they're getting. They're doing awesome at recruiting. Coaches, like, are they just lying to coaches, recruits, saying, "Hey, we're not going to get a bowl ban"? And then if
they don't know, they
turned around and said,
they don't know.
I think they do. I disagree. I think Michigan does know exactly what's going to happen.
It doesn't have to be lying. They haven't been told yet. They don't know what the NCAA is going to decide. Nobody does.
I guess, but yeah,
not I guess. Like it would have been leaked. It would have been leaked. No one knows. Like as soon as it gets leaked, so it's not going to get leaked. It's going to get everyone involved in the punishments is going to get told like an hour before everything gets released, and at that point,
don't you think though that it would have already been leaked by now, like to Pete Thamel, someone like
I think it will get leaked, but I don't think that it's been told yet. I don't think that the decision has been formally written down or completely decided yet. They're not just. I don't think that they have their everything completely done, and it's just they're just waiting to give it out. I think as soon as the decision has been officially decided by the NCAA, I think at that point it's going to start getting leaked. I just don't think it's been, they haven't made a formal decision yet.
Yeah, but don't you think that they know? Like schools self-impose all the time when they know they've done something wrong and they're going to get punished. They self-impose. Michigan especially.
Yeah, some schools self-impose, and some schools like cooperate. Michigan doesn't do any of that, and they haven't been doing
Michigan,
any of that.
on the contrary, Michigan does self-impose all the time.
Not
and
real,
they also
not real
cooperate.
punishments.
They did not cooperate with the Big Ten. Remember, like they absolutely fought the Big Ten, but they cooperated with the NCAA. They're not idiots.
You mean after they destroyed evidence, told people to destroy evidence?
There was like certain individuals who did some things, but they got fired immediately. So I don't think the NCAA is going to punish
Moore didn't get fired immediately. He probably should have been.
Oh, for deleting the innocuous text.
Well, that plus he was involved.
It was stupid.
He was involved with Connor Stalions too. I mean, they were all in this together. Didn't you see the Josh Pate interview? He's like, everyone in Michigan knew. I mean, like
that's an assumption. I mean, we're all not idiots. Maybe they did know, but
of course they knew.
Again, maybe
the
not.
Only argument,
I mean,
your only
you would
argument
think that there would have been a link
at this point somehow.
The NCAA would have found a link because Connor Stalions was an idiot using his Venmo on describing things that he was paying for. So I feel like we would know if
it's going to be,
and maybe there was.
Like how is there going to be a link to the coach as long as he's not stupid and emailing about it like Trussell did?
See, I feel like there would have been some sort of link out there. Unless they were just that devious. And you know what? If they were that devious, if Sherrone Moore was really that devious and
how is it that devious not to put in writing that you're cheating?
Yeah, but no. If he was that devious and smart, he would have known he couldn't just delete text messages to Connor Stalions and be like, oh, no one will ever notice that. I mean, we're talking about people who are not really doing the smartest of things. If there was a link and there was specific knowledge about Connor, what he was doing with any of the coaches, they would have got caught.
So
you can't be that big of an idiot and not get caught.
There's two types of idiots. I told you Connor Stalions is a very smart guy, but he has done stupid things because he's not good at covering his tracks. There's a difference between being smart with one thing but then not being smart with other things. Like he left his Venmo public. Okay, like he's really smart to be able to concoct this whole plan that he did, right? I mean, if you watched any of the Netflix documentary, you could just tell, like, the guy's a really smart dude.
Well, like, to be able to do that. Your own words, if he was not good at hiding it, then he probably would have gotten caught if anyone else in the rest of the university would have known about it. Like, if no one was good at hiding things, which they're not, and obviously Sherrone Moore is not good, because if he's young enough guy to know that if you can't just delete texts, and that means no one's going to be able to find them. I mean, he's obviously not. He's a good coach, obviously, really good at coaching, but obviously he's not trying to. If he was trying to hide it, he absolutely would have gotten caught. I guess that's my point. Johnny Ohio, it's got a good name there, even though I'm a Michigan guy. I like that name. Either they knew or the worst at running a program, one or the other, can't be both. Between Stallions and Weiss and Partridge, Harbaugh had no control over anything. All right. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't think Weiss is involved, though. I don't know if Weiss is involved with this at all.
Yeah, that's that's an FBI investigation. We have no idea, what's going on with that. I'm sure that the FBI is more concerned with all the other personal information he got from like 300,000 people or whatever.
So what do you think about the revelation of Michigan not being involved as a university, or coaches not being involved at all with Connor Stalions being on the Central Michigan sideline? Because they're not mentioned in the notice of allegations for Central Michigan.
The notice of allegations is only
they just hired Connor Stalions to help spy on Michigan State for them. It's essentially
that's why I think that the Michigan beat writers are wrong. Any kind of allegation against the Michigan people is going to be in the Michigan notice of allegations, not in the Central Michigan one. So I don't think.
Yeah, but I don't think they had. Yeah, it is. But I thought, that was being looked at as kind of like the worst thing that Connor Stalions did, was being on the side of the.
No, it was just because it was the only actual proof where we actually saw him. We don't have any other pictures of him, in the stands or whatever doing it.
We did have pictures of him in the stands, but
maybe there was. I've never seen any.
But Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we were just looking at pictures on the sideline of him at Michigan. But in any case, he was basically, I guess he wasn't there to steal signs from Michigan State, even though maybe that's what he was doing. He was kind of like working two angles there, but he was also just like, I guess, helping Central Michigan beat Michigan State, which I don't think worked very well. I think Michigan State won that game, but I'd have to go back and look.
Yep, they did.
True.
So,
all right, awesome.
I'm going to do like a deep dive on some more of the rules and everything, and we're going to do for the next our next video that we do. But for the rest of today, I wanted to focus on some more position groups, especially since camp just started. We've had 3 days of camp, so we can maybe talk a little bit about how camp is going and our thoughts on maybe our biggest strengths, biggest weaknesses.
Yes.
What people are, and actually, even more important than that, I think the main thing I wanted to talk about was what I feel like most national reporters are getting wrong about our teams. So you can talk about Michigan, I'll talk about Ohio State.
Yeah. How about we start with the like the losing of minds over the first day of camp and with Julian Sayin. I know that you had an injury on the defensive line, but Julian Sayin, like there was panic about Julian like not having a very good
most
day.
People were panicked because we thought Edric Houston might have been out for the first game, which would have been huge because that was our, the one area that people were concerned about on depth. But
is he actually okay?
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, he's not playing yet, but he's only supposed to be out a few days or something.
Gotcha. Well, good.
So that's good news. Really good news. Our defensive end depth is looking fantastic, and we have some young guys, especially, that are also like really jumping out. So a lot of the heat that Larry Johnson was getting, although I mean, most of the heat really is based on depth, and it's defensive tackle depth still remains to be seen. But the first couple of days, people were really nervous about the quarterback play. It wasn't looking good. Apparently, day 3 today went really well. So, I'm not going to get all worked up about the first couple of days of the fall practice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Buckeye fans are panicking on a daily basis.
If 2 weeks come, 2 weeks in or 3 weeks in, and they're still playing bad, then we're going to be worried. But I wanted to go back and see too. When was the last time someone won a national title with a quarterback that didn't have any starting experience? The previous year.
That has to be Trevor Lawrence that won a national title.
So I know he's the obvious answer, but was there anyone after him? Was there anyone else that just came in? So we have, before Michigan, we had Georgia twice, and so
it didn't have starting experience. I don't think. I think a lot of like new starters have probably won national titles. We'd have to go back and look at that. Probably for Alabama, maybe.
Yeah,
or maybe they weren't starters the year before. They just came in.
Yeah, I wanted to take a look into that, because I think this year is almost certainly going to be one of those years, because unless Clemson wins or South Carolina somehow, almost everyone is breaking in a new quarterback this year.
Yeah,
like all the top teams have new quarterbacks. So I mean, with zero experience, right? So like the top teams, like Arch has played 2 games, and they were against complete cupcakes, so that's barely any experience. Like I wouldn't even call that anything really. Because even Kyle McCord played a game or two when CJ got hurt his first year. So, it doesn't matter. Like playing 2 games against cupcakes doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
So I put Arch in. I put Arch in the zero experience. Obviously Julian saying
not
zero experience.
He's got. I wouldn't say zero for Arch. I mean, Arch he's been there 2 years prior. He's started a couple games.
Yeah, he had 2 starts against 2 cupcakes. That's nothing.
Yeah, but that's still.
I mean, after a few weeks into the season, it's going to be
football.
nothing. I mean, for this season, I'm not talking about for the opening game. Obviously, it's a little bit of an advantage for week 1, but I don't think it's this huge advantage. It's not like he played much against us in the playoffs either. He was in for 1 play, got injured, so he didn't get to do anything. I mean, Clemson really is. A lot of people are talking about them, but even though they're saying that everyone thinks that Clemson's going to win the ACC, I don't think I've heard anyone really go all out and pick them as the title, winner. Like I think more people are probably picking Penn
Yeah.
State because Penn State actually has a quarterback, even though he's supposed to be a first round pick somehow. I mean, I certainly don't see it, but
Yeah,
I
well,
think
I'm not
between
feeling Clemson or Penn State. I don't think either one of
well,
those teams is going to
I
win the
think
national title.
think Clemson is. I'm feeling Clemson a lot more than Penn State, just because Penn State, they still don't have an elite receiver. They lost their top two players last year. Everyone's talking about what they returned. Well, they lost Abdul Carter, what is he, a top 3 pick in the draft, number 2 or something, and then they lost Taylor Warren, who's like a top 11 or 12 pick. So those are the best offensive player, the best defensive player, both gone. They returned running backs and a quarterback who has never really made any big plays. So
I think
I
it
don't know.
was
I'm sure they're
was
going to
it
be
James
good, but
Jameis Winston was only a redshirt freshman when he won the national title for Florida State, wasn't he? I mean, I know that's a long time ago.
yeah, that was a while ago. Um,
Yeah, I think
I'm
he
not
was a
sure.
redshirt freshman.
We'll have to go back and make a list, but it's pretty rare. Like almost everyone has. Usually, it's the teams that are like in the top 5. They all have quarterbacks, right? So like really, it's just Penn
Yeah.
State and Clemson, and no
Yeah,
one.
and that
I don't see too
I
many
can't
people
believe
picking either of those
people are
teams.
picking them. A lot of
Yeah,
people are picking Clemson, and I've
yeah,
seen that quarterback play. He is not that good. I mean, I
yeah,
think he did come on later last year in the regular season,
yeah.
but then I'm going to have to go back and watch that game that they played in the playoffs against Texas, because I don't think, if I'm
Well,
remembering right,
Texas
it
ran all
didn't
over
look
them. That
good.
was the big problem. Texas
Oh,
ran all
maybe.
over them. Their run defense was the problem.
Yes. Johnny, James Franklin, he is not going to win. I mean, he would have to actually do it before I would actually like even call it or believe it.
Well, Michigan had a more reliable quarterback, right? I mean, JJ, in my opinion, is a much better college quarterback than Drew Aller. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously he's proven it, and Penn State has never really been effective without a good quarterback, and I don't think Drew Aller is that good. I mean, I have not seen him do anything that makes me even slightly worried about him. Like the only thing, playing Penn State, the only hard part about that game is going to be, how is our run defense this year against a really good run team? Last year I wasn't worried about it at all, and then also I be worried about their defense, because their defense is always good, and they do return a lot, even though Abdul Carter's gone. So they're going to have a good defense, but they still have their problem at quarterback, and they don't have any elite receivers. They lost
Yeah.
their star tight end. Like, I don't know. And then Oregon, their top receivers injured, might be out for the year. They lost all their other receivers and playmakers in their quarterback. They have a 5-star quarterback coming in, but he's never played before. They got some good transfers on defense. A lot of the stuff for Oregon is, I think Oregon's going to be really good in another year or two, because their recruiting has been fantastic, and their transfer portal and
Yeah. They're
recruiting
going
has
to be
been
good.
fantastic the last 2 years. But a lot of those guys are young enough that those top players on Oregon, I don't think are going to be really playing much this year. So the people that are actually starting for Oregon this year, I don't know. I think this could be a bit of a down year for them. Texas, I think it's going to be really good. They have stars all over the field on both sides. Their defense is supposed to be amazing. They did lose a lot of defensive linemen, but they replaced a lot of those in the portal, assuming those will be pretty good. So it seems like their only potential weakness really is offensive tackle. They lost, 2 offensive tackles that I think were both in both top 50 picks, and replacing 2 offensive tackles is never easy. So we'll see how that. I mean, that's really like the only
Question
weakness
for you.
I really see for Texas.
Question for you. For Ohio State, other than quarterback, you asked me this question the other day. Like, what do you see as the position group that's going to be the like the key, the most important?
Most important.
Yeah.
I would say probably our number 2 and 3 safety, because we usually play a lot of 3 safety games, 3 safety
What?
looks. So
You
yeah,
think that's like the most
yeah.
key
Because
important position is
last year
safety?
when we had 2 elite safeties, Caleb Downs was able to do whatever he wanted, and that's what really opened that defense up, because he didn't have to just play deep and be worried about them beating us over the top, because we had other guys like Hancock and everyone else in our nickels, and like everyone else was so good that it just freed up Caleb to just be like a game wrecker. And we have some young guys coming in this year that are supposed to be pretty good. Not that young. I mean, they've had some experience already. Matthews, I think, is really good at corner, and I personally think he's going to be an upgrade over what's his name? God damn it! What's his name again? The Burke.
Yeah, well, you have some agreement out there replacing Ransom.
Yeah.
I thought for sure.
I mean, safety is such an important part of the defense. Like every time we've won a national title, we always have amazing safety play, and obviously having one of the best is a good start. But you need, we usually play 3, so having those other guys step up. If McLean and whoever we pick as our other third safety, that both those guys can even come close to the safety play we had last year, the defense can be locked down. Because I think, they've been playing him at nickel in practice, probably to get a lot of the other guys some more practice and game reps at safety. But also, Caleb is going to get some practice to do nickel, which he's never really done. So he's just going to be, defenses aren't going to know where he's going to be. He's going to be somewhere different all the time. And
I think Ohio State in 2014 had really good safeties.
Yeah.
If you're talking national titles.
Yep.
The one before that, that you guys actually won was 2002.
Yeah.
Good safeties. Who was their safety there?
Yeah, was
Doss there? Or was that after?
Yeah.
Was that after Doss?
Yeah, it was Doss and Nicky. So Nicky got a lot of shit, but he wasn't that bad.
Okay. But it seems like you're going to have a lot of good position groups if you win a national title. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, like
safety.
Our linebackers are super athletic. So the interesting thing is, we have like a really interesting combination, right? So the guys that were playing last year, like a lot of the guys, whether it was defensive linemen or linebackers or safeties, they not only were they good players and good leaders, but they also had a lot of experience. So while we lack in starting experience, we do have a lot of guys that have had game experience, and almost all of them, to a man, are more athletic than who they're replacing. Our linebackers are more athletic. Our defensive linemen, while not as proven, are more athletic. I mean, that was the problem with Sawyer and with JTT. Like those guys were, highly ranked guys, but they didn't make big plays. Like they were just like solid against the run. JTT was really good against Penn State, but neither of them were like crazy athletic freaks that just sacked the quarterback.
They were just solid.
Yeah,
they were just real solid,
right? Solid and good leaders.
And
whereas all these guys
really
we have
games.
coming in, I mean, my main concern is losing Tyleik Williams and Ty Hamilton.
I think they had really good games in the playoffs. Like they had an amazing playoff run.
Yeah,
right?
They did. But I mean, it was the whole line. Like Tyleik and Hamilton were both amazing all year.
See, if I was going to pick for Ohio State, I'd say offensive line. That would be my biggest pick. I would say offensive line's the most important.
Well, yeah, they're important, but I'm not worried about them at all. I think Ohio State is going to have a top 5 offensive line. So last year we lost Simmons in like, what was it? We played Oregon game 5 or 6, right?
So he was like out. 4 offensive linemen total from last year.
Two that are good.
Josh Fryer, Josh Simmons.
No, Fryer wasn't good.
Center.
Fryer wasn't good. So we lost our center, but our center got hurt.
Starter though. I mean, he was lost as a starter.
So our center was lost before the Penn State game, or was it? No, it was right after the Penn State game. So the Penn State game was where we had to put
and Donovan Jackson too. That's 4.
So we had to put Donovan Jackson at left tackle because we lost our left tackle, and then he had to start against Penn State, which was his first time starting at left tackle, and initially gave up a couple of sacks, but then played pretty good the rest of the game.
I'm going to add this up since we're talking about the line.
If you look at the playoffs, so everyone talks about like, oh well, you guys lost Simmons and you lost your center
Simmons, Donovan Jackson, Seth McLaughlin, Josh
So we
Fryer.
lost
That's a
Seth
lot.
and hold on, we lost Simmons and we lost McLaughlin halfway through the season. Like, McLaughlin like a little bit more than halfway. So we had the latter third of the season plus all the playoffs without those two guys. So the only person that we lost that was like part of the playoff run and end of the year, was Donovan Jackson. Obviously, he's going to be hard to replace, but Ethan is a quality left tackle that was projected to go in the third round had he gone pro.
That is true.
He's a really good dude. And Montgomery, Hinsman, Tegra, and Austin all played a lot last year. And
so who on this line was playing in the national title run?
All those guys were. Everyone but Ethan. I think
so the only one not playing. They were all starting. Like who? Which of all?
The only one that wasn't starting full time was Luke Montgomery and Tegra Shabola sort of rotated. Those two sort of rotated. Carson and Austin were starting, and then Tegra and
was starting.
Yeah, so Hinsman started, and Searveld started, and Tegra and Montgomery.
So these other three guys are brand new.
No. Tegra and Montgomery both rotated. I can't remember which one ended up getting more. I think Montgomery ended up playing. I think he was the one that ended up playing more than Tegra. And then, Ethan started for another team and is a stud. So like all these guys have starting experience, except for I think Tegra is the only one that has a small amount of starting experience.
Gotcha.
And, and he's like a absolute monster. I mean, he's a big guy.
My opinion, of course, is just that the offensive line is going to be the biggest.
It's funny. So I think they're going to be a top, like, this is how different your opinion is than mine. I think this is going to be a top 5 offensive line in the country.
Why do you think that? I mean, no.
They're all really good.
They're all really good.
My only question mark was Tegra.
Okay.
Tegra
I see why you're saying
question mark, right? Like, and he's just been up and down, and I'm just, all I'm hoping is that, out of all of them, if Tegra can get a little bit better, that's it. Like there's one potential weakness on the line.
Getting that left tackle, I mean, obviously we haven't seen him play at Ohio State, but he's a redshirt senior. That's probably a pretty big deal to have that locked down.
Yeah.
But I feel
we got Philip Daniels in the portal too.
The
and we thought Philip Daniels was going to start, but apparently Austin Searveld is so good that, Philip Daniels, who we brought in to start at right tackle, is going to be the backup. So, it's just even more backup. And then Padilla's a pretty good backup for center. We have a lot of depth.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I got to put this on.
What did Buckeye Scoop say?
They've said a lot. I mean, he's probably referring to
the
punishments for Michigan coming down. But yeah, I agree. Matt does need to stop listening to Buckeye Scoop.
I read the bylaws. I don't care what they say. Those people, they just, all they do is say hammer, 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 but they don't actually focus on any of the rules and the violations. And I think there's the intrinsic, I think it's the only person that ever does.
I like Buckeye Scoop, just for the record. I find them highly entertaining. But it's pretty funny. Like, yeah. But I mean, back to Ohio State. I mean, the line I feel like is just really important because I feel like Ohio State really has to run the ball this year, especially with a new quarterback. I feel like that's probably more important.
I didn't say, hold up. Brian's saying I don't listen to him. I didn't say I didn't listen to him. I said I don't get my knowledge about
I got
fans based on what Buckeye Scoop is saying. I read all of the bylaws.
Yeah,
that's the problem with being a lawyer. You get obsessive about reading all these fun bylaws that Michigan violated. And the one that Nate keeps on forgetting, it's like, well, there's no link to Jim Harbaugh. I'm like, well, they made a new bylaw a year or two ago that doesn't. It's basically the end-run rule. You don't have to know that your team committed a violation. You are still responsible for it. And then
I've evolved past that position that I had. Now I'm just saying that it's not.
I haven't heard anyone even bring that up. I mean, that's like one of the biggest rules that changed a year ago.
I was put on blast earlier just for saying that I don't think that in-person scouting is cheating. It doesn't qualify as cheating, just based on how the NCAA handled the Baylor situation back in 2015. So if you don't know about the Baylor situation in 2015, Google that. There's a good ESPN article. Basically, a guy, one of the actual one of the position coaches, Jeff Lebby, in-person scout at Oklahoma. He did it once. He didn't do it like Connor Stalions did like 52 times, but he did it once. And he only got a half game suspension. You don't just get half game suspensions for cheating. So if I was a Michigan lawyer, and I'm sure they're a lot smarter than I am in this, I'm sure they were actually bringing that up too. I mean, case law, right? That would be case law if you're making a comparison to legal. Correct, Matt?
Yeah. So, instead of a half a game.
How did we get started with this? Brian got us started
instead of a half a game, we'll get 25 games. That's fine.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, but back to this. So, top 5 line. Okay, I mean, the Michigan line here is 2. I think Michigan's going to have a good offensive line this year too. I think basically what we're both saying about our lines is they're going to pick up where they left off last year.
Hold up, put up Brian's point.
Okay, which one?
The last one. Just because you win without cheating doesn't mean that they're irrelevant. He wouldn't have gone through all the trouble to do this if it didn't help. I'm not saying that Michigan didn't have good coaches. They did. I'm not saying that Michigan didn't have a bunch of good players. They did. And I'm not saying that they weren't motivated because all of the world was against them because of the cheating. So it helped them come together and play well as a team. It did. However, just because you won without cheating doesn't mean that the cheating didn't help the previous 2.5 years. It obviously did. I mean, look at Harbaugh. Look at Harbaugh's record before all the cheating happened. It was abysmal. Like if he would have lost the game against Ohio State, if he didn't duck the game in 2020, he would have been fired immediately, and none of this would even have happened. But he cheated his ass off, and that's the only reason why he was able to turn things around.
I like to think that a lot of the reason that Michigan started doing a lot better is because of the defensive coordinators, Mike McDonald, where is he right now? Head coach of Seattle. And then the next defensive coordinator they brought in, where's he right now? He's a defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh in the NFL. I think that had a lot more to do with why Michigan was successful than any just kind of like little scandals and
I agree. I think that those coaches had more to do with it than the signs. I'm not saying that the signs, I don't know how many times I can say it. The signs are not why they won the games. The signs did help though.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, because Connor Stalions wouldn't have gone to all that trouble to actually do it if they didn't help to some degree, or if he thought that they did anyway. But if they were that effective, like where people think what happened with Tennessee, with South Carolina scoring 9 straight touchdowns on them in 2022, I think it was. If it was that effective, stealing signs would have been made illegal a long time ago. Don't you agree with
Brian is comparing the games that we played when they had Stallions and when they didn't. Well, those are different teams. Our team had no defense in 2021. Our team had no defense in 2022. And that's why we got lit up. I mean, part of it, it's not just Stallions. The defenses that we had ruined historic offenses for Ohio State. Our defenses were abysmal, especially 2021. It was okay in 2022, but
no, stealing signs is not illegal. That sign stealing is absolutely legal. You can do it.
When
You're
we
just
refer,
not allowed to.
When we refer to sign stealing, we obviously mean advanced scouting. I'm not going to say advanced scouting for sign stealing every single time I bring it up. Everyone should understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, it is kind of being interchangeable, but yeah, sign stealing is not illegal. It's just pre-scouting an opponent.
Yeah, Kyle McCord wasn't very good, and our running game wasn't very good either in 2023.
Yeah,
we had Marvin Harrison. That was it.
Yeah, and you scored 10 points versus no Stallions. That was this past year. Oh, the flex. That's the ultimate flex. But I'll say, if Michigan had lost any of those games, it would have been brutal. Brutal. I mean, look at the way Michigan's being treated now, even after winning those games.
I mean, part of it too is Ryan Day is not doing well with his game plans. So it's not just Michigan, it's not just Stallions. It's also Ryan Day has a mental issue against Michigan.
Well, okay, hey, I've got a really.
It's like if he didn't have a mental issue, what were we favored by? Like 23 points this last year, and we lost. I mean, it had nothing to do with anything. other than Brian Day and Chip Kelly had a horrible game plan.
I have a very interesting question. So, what is your most important position group for playing Michigan? Because that's like a season unto itself almost, because it's like a team, it's an offense that the defense doesn't, well, I mean, that Ohio State doesn't necessarily face a lot, like a team that's stubbornly running the ball. Like, you picked the safeties as the most important position group for this year, but that's probably not your most important group
against
for
Michigan,
right?
Against Michigan. Well, I don't know. Like, we've had some. I would say in 2023 when you guys beat us, having a good safety instead of a guy with. I think our safety was actually injured before that game because the guy that was playing was not a starter, and he got the game-winning touchdown was against our backup safety. So you think it's not a big deal, but our backup safety cost us literally. Although I do think that was an interception. You claim it wasn't an interception where he caught the touchdown in the 2023 game.
Yeah, that was not an interception.
So anyway, our backup safety who was not, just because he was a backup and he wasn't good. So he's was not a good player, and he got beat. If we had a good safety there, that play is never happening. But obviously if we have a really strong offensive line like I think we were going to this year, that's just going to help with the quarterback and the running game so much. So I mean, if it's as good as I think it is, it's clearly going to be one of the most important positions, along with probably our run stopping on defensive tackle depth, which is a concern. So I'm hoping we can either run a 3-4 with some with all our good linebacker depth, and just rotate our 2 defensive tackles in a 3-4 or something. Maybe we'll do that a lot because Patricia was known for running a 3-4 at New England, I believe, right?
I am not sure, but I'm trying to think. I mean,
I think they're going to rotate. I think they're going to do a lot of different formations.
The Buckeyes haven't run the ball at all very well against these 4 losses against Michigan, right? I mean, I'm trying to think of I don't think they did. I think it was pretty porous running. Maybe
I wasn't saying
maybe the running game
we lost.
would be the
Hold on,
offensive line and running backs.
Talking smack again. I'm not saying we lost because of an injury. Our depth sucked that year. Our defense in our defense, the last few years until 2024, our defense just wasn't that good. When I say you have to have a good defense,
2023 it was like top 5 overall, top 3. I think
not at the end of the year after all the games and the bowl games and everything. Like, you got to count everything.
That bowl game.
I mean, obviously, if our defense was elite, we would have had good backups. We didn't have good backups in the secondary. That's on Ohio State for not having good enough backups. I'm not blaming it on because a starter was hurt. I'm blaming it on we didn't have the depth that we should have at secondary like we do now. Like, our secondary depth is really good, especially at corner. I'm hopeful on safety depth, but I'm not 100% sold on it yet. But we've heard good things about everyone in the secondary. Our recruiting at the secondary has been second only to wide receivers, so it's been really good. And linebackers.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah, and linebackers.
The defense did play good defense against Missouri. I mean, they just ended up giving up the last drive or a drive there at the end of the game because they were really demoralized.
I mean, Missouri gave Georgia a good game that year too. Like, they were beating Georgia for most of that game.
So if you're looking at Ohio State, at least against Michigan, jeez, I think it's the running game that has been bad, and then Ohio State stopping Michigan in the second half, stopping Michigan's running game in the second half. It's like those 2 things combined.
Well, part of it's having being able to sustain drives to keep your defense off the field. I mean, last year, so we had a bad game plan where they were just trying to play man ball, and that obviously is not the strength when you have 2 studs at defensive tackle, and really your whole defensive line was full of studs. So the strength of the Michigan team by far was your defensive line, by far, and has been for quite a while. So I mean, really, like, I think in college, outside of quarterback, like, the entire defensive line is probably the most important position, even more than offensive line. Like, the teams that win almost always have elite defensive line play.
So you're not going to say defensive line for Ohio State is their most? You still think it's the safeties?
Just because I think we have really good defensive end depth, and our starters at defensive tackle are elite, I think. So, I'm not going to just say like the entire position is. at defensive tackle is the biggest concern just because of the depth, when I think all the starters at defensive tackle are really good. And I think we have a really good rotation in defensive end, plus linebacker blitzing and everything. I just think that that's going to be fine. The only issue really is going to potentially be is if defensive tackles get hurt or something. But I'm more concerned about the actual starters at safety. Like we've heard good things, but they're completely unproven in games. Like we haven't had any of those guys start. So that's a really big question mark. It's the biggest question mark for me.
It's going to be a big question mark in every game except for Michigan. Your secondary is going to be bored like they were the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I think the secondary,
watching your front seven,
because we're
going
to have, we're going to have probably 3 elite corners and an elite safety. And if any of the other safeties step up, it's just going to make everything so much easier. So I don't know. I think this defense is going to be really nasty. On offense, it's just going to be like, how quick does it take our quarterback to, get command of the offense? Like it's good as CJ Stroud was, he still wasn't great at the beginning of his career. It's really difficult. Like the only good thing is like he has been there a year, so it's not like he's just learning the system. He's not a freshman or something. Like he was in the system the entire last year and all over the summer. So he's had a lot of time to learn the offense. So it's not like he's completely, this was the number 1 rated quarterback in his class. I mean, he's not rated as highly as Underwood is, but he's still the number 1 rated quarterback.
Yeah, we're going to find out real quick. We'll have to do these games are coming up. I mean, we're in the month now when real football is going to be played towards the end here of August. But to wrap it up.
Okay.
I think that was awesome. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. We'll wrap it up right here, but this will be interesting. We'll have to talk about Michigan's
Hold up. One more
line.
thing.
We'll talk about,
Carlos is talking smack. Dude, our corners are unbelievable. If you go look at the record, like everyone we have is a 5-star. It's absurd.
Well, you have 5 stars. You have a lot of 5 stars at the cotton candy positions.
I mean,
and the far outside positions, you're you have lots of 5 stars, but Sanchez
is coming in. People are saying he's playing so well, he's going to find a way to force himself onto the field, even though that's like our second most depth that we have of any position. Like he's just going to come in and, along with Matthews and, Igminosin, like we already have 2 starters that are going to be, I think.
Thanks, Carlos. Appreciate that.
No, I think I don't think Igminosin's really good when he's not, doing pass interference. Like he actually makes
every other time he gets the ball towards him.
He gets a lot of shit for the pass interference, but last year, if he didn't get the interception against Penn State, we lose the game. Like he made the play of the game, and people don't even remember. Like he made that he won the game.
James Franklin would have screwed it up some other way.
No, if they get a
touchdown
that
was a kick-ass interception. I agree.
Game.
The best interception of his life, his career, I guarantee. But anyway.
I actually agree with Brian. I think your front 7 is probably going to be the best. I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's definitely going to be a top 3.
Depth is huge there.
I don't think it's that Iggy is a safety. I just think that he's just a little too handsy.
You all have a lot of mental control over Matt. You guys can all going to be living in Matt's head rent free all week.
He's not a safety playing cornerback. He's just a little handsy.
Yeah. He's just a little handsy. Awesome. All right. Well, we're headed out here. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We'll talk to y'all later. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Go Bucks.
Go Blue.